Rob, great having you here today.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jeremy.
So today we're talking about network monitoring scale. And as you know, we've been living through this global pandemic. And on top of that is the evolution of networking. So what do you think it is about both of those things that sheds a new light on the need for network monitoring scale?
So networks have been evolving for the past few decades here, right? And so as a natural progression of that, the complexity to manage them has also increased. And with that, we have more and more data that's being sent from these networks. And so the monitoring solutions that we have today need to be able to scale up to meet this demand. So here at Broadcom, we've evolved our monitoring scale to meet these demands, not just modern networking, but also the pandemic, right? That's been a large unforeseen driver in this scale here. So to give you an example of that, like in 2020, right, we had lots of companies moving on to VPN. So specific case here, a major oil and gas services company, right? They, like many other organizations, they made the decision to have most of their employees be able to work from home. And so as a result of that, they relied heavily on virtual private networks to be able to gain access to sensitive company resources. But the challenge for that was now they had to figure out how to grow from normally 10,000 users they support on the VPN to 60,000 VPN users. And so, through the pandemic here, they were using our DX NetOps solution to be able to answer two very important questions here. One, can the current VPN hardware handle this increased user demand? And two, can the existing ISP links and internet routers handle this increase in demand? So additionally, DX NetOps delivered scalable network monitoring along with very valuable insights into the VPN health by location, all the current user connections across regions, and capacity planning on current usage to be able to plan out for future demand. Another example is the increasing adoption of software-defined technology, such as software-defined WAN and software-defined data center. So this means even more devices on the network, more data than we've ever seen before. And so when you take an example, it's not uncommon for today's SDN technologies to generate well over 200,000 alarms and events on a daily basis. So going inside the software-defined data center, right? We've been working with a global software company that recently deployed Cisco ACI, the software-defined data center technology across their 18 data centers with 24 APIC clusters, over 1,200 leaves and spines, and over 350,000 endpoints to monitor. So this is a very large deployment producing hundreds of thousands of alarms and events every day. They chose DX NetOps to have one high-scale unified portal across all of their traditional network infrastructure and their new Cisco ACI deployments. They've also reduced their redundant network management tool sets. They've increased their network reliability metrics from 50 to 95%, and significantly reduced alarm noise by 85%. So another reason why network monitoring scale is so important is because if a solution can't keep up with collecting, correlating, and analyzing all this network data, then any missing fault in performance and flow data will result in gaps in historical reporting and deliver false predictions. So as we look at software-defined networking, there's an explosion of data coming from all these new concepts such as overlays and virtual elements that have been introduced. So it's another example of why monitoring scale is so needed today.
Yeah, those sound like huge deployments. Just like you and I, we're working from home right now. Our company has tens of thousands of employees too. I can't imagine the challenges that were created for our customers out there when having to deal with these pandemic-related network capacity and utilization issues. Those are great examples, but I have a question about defining monitoring scale when it comes to today's processes and workflows. So how do you define scale when it comes to network operations monitoring?
Yeah. So the first thing is data collection, right? So you need to get the metrics and events. So the first thing from a scale is just not only, hey, collecting metrics, but also the variety of where they're coming from, right? So you have metrics and events coming in via SNMP and flows, but now we have APIs, REST APIs, other APIs, syslogs, etc. And then the data model that you're applying this against, right? The underlays and overlays and virtual elements, right? So there's just being able to scale across that breadth of variety there. And then, being able to do this without requiring an army of engineers to manage this, right? We have all this additional data, new data, variety of data, but we don't have increased resources to manage this, right? So being able to scale out there. And additionally, so now that we have all this data, we've collected it, but what are you going to do with this data, right? You need to be able to operationalize it. So this is really making sure that we have the right workflows, dashboards, UIs, analytics built in, so that the NetOps team, the folks of operators need to make sense of this data, are able to make use of all of this in a timely fashion. And also, we deal with a lot of very large and complex customers who, for all right reasons, they're pretty demanding, and so they push us, right? So they're always pushing us to collect more, do better analysis, secure the solution even better. So we are trusted by some of the world's largest and most demanding environments out there.
Rob, tell me about another real-world example where our customers are pushing the limits of where we're going with our innovations and our monitoring solutions.
Yeah, so I mean, we have one of the customers I work with is a large North American communications service provider. And we're looking at, I think last I saw was like 6 million pulled items, millions of interfaces, well over 300,000 devices, managing configurations of, well over 150,000 customer premise routers. So again, and being able to do this, across fault and performance and flow and config, and it's just it's a lot of data coming in, and they're continuing to grow. They're growing through organic means, they're growing through acquisitions. So it's a very demanding environment, just from the use case that they put up and just the amount of data coming in.
So I can't understand how a network environment that large would not need additional staffing to manage the day-to-day operations. Can you just tell us once again how DX NetOps allows you to scale out your monitoring without having to scale out your network operations staff? How does that work?
Yeah, so the first is, being able to address the broad range of data collection requirements, right? Being able to collect all this and bring it into one spot. And really it's that unified portal where operations teams and capacity planners and others that need access to this data, they can go in and see it. They're not swiveling from, one tool to another, to another, to another. They can see it all in one spot. And then, being able to do analysis on this, so, from a fault and performance and flow perspective, being able to do analysis across SNMP data, API data, syslog data, flow data, configuration data, being able to make sense of it so that, you don't have to have that big conference room correlation there, but basically, a single operator can do this on their own. They're empowered to do this at an operations level, as opposed to the whole, let's all hop on the big bridge or go into a conference room and play the blame game there.
That's just amazing stuff, Rob. I want to thank you for your time today. Really great hearing about the largest networks that are in the world and how Broadcom and our beloved DX NetOps solution is helping to overcome a lot of the challenges that these customers have today in order providing reliable network delivery. So again, thank you very much, and I invite everyone to join us on the next episode of the NetOps Expert. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.